Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to State of... Wait, hold on. Funky, we're just going to mute you there. Got you there. Got you, buddy. Welcome to Attempts at Governance episode 232. And we're coming at you live from my hometown, Toronto, at the Hacker House, the Lodge on Queen by Web Zero here at Consensus. Pretty awesome time. We've had hundreds and hundreds of people through the doors already in just the first 2 days here at the Lodge. And I think we can expect many, many more. There is a Women of Web3 event happening downstairs right now. They're all getting loaded onto that giant pink bus. I don't know where they're going to go, but it's just been lots of fun action here. Oh, they're coming to Consensus. They're coming to Funky, actually. They're coming to Funky. Yesterday, we had a big bar crawl through the city, which was awesome. Huge party, almost 300 people for opening night. Lots of good stuff here in Toronto. But to start us off today, we're going to go to the state of the Treasury, but a bit of a larger view. Tommy's going to take us through a spending report for Q1 2025. Tommy, take it away.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I finally finished the Treasury report for the first quarter. And I would say the common theme right now is that the Treasury is actually growing up and it's going into a real state of, I don't know, very responsible spending. You know, in the past, we're always having a lot of discussion about what to approve and what to not to approve. But from what I'm seeing in the last quarter, there is actually only one thing that really got me triggered. And in the past, it has been, I don't know, like numerous things where I was saying like, why did we do this? But this time, it is really about all the spends that I'm seeing are, in my opinion, very responsible. And so, yeah, let's dive a little bit into it. I'm basically having two things for you. There is the balance sheet. So this is how much money does the Treasury have and where does it allocate the money? And then there is the second view, which is sort of the expenses and where did the money go. So we're going to dive a little bit into this. And so this is the first view.
Tommy,
and,
would you just kindly zoom in on whatever you're talking about? Because in this setup,
yeah.
It's just going to look a little small for our audience.
Yes. So the first thing here is maybe it's a table. It's not maybe the best thing to start, but this is the balance sheet. And I'm just going to point out maybe the big numbers. So the Treasury at the end of Q1, so it's 1.5 months ago, it had $135 million on the balance sheet. That's like $33 million. And most of that is cash. So $100 million in cash that's sitting on Asset Hub, it's sitting on the main account, and it's also in the stable coin swap campaigns. Treasury has $25 million in designated assets. So these are assets that are already earmarked for bounties, for the fellowship, for the mythical distribution or in the ambassador program. So these are specific programs where the Treasury is allocating money to be spent on specific programs. And then the last section here, so this is like $8 million are in protocol-owned liquidity market operations. So where the Polkadot Treasury is deploying capital into the market to operate and make sure that there is liquidity. So one of the really interesting things that newcomers are always surprised with the Polkadot Treasury is that it actually is holding assets trustlessly across multiple chains. So what we see here is that the Treasury holds about like 60% of its value on the relay chain, on sort of the main chain. But already more and more capital is migrating over to Asset Hub, and we will see this migration continue. So in a few months, most of the money of the Treasury will be sitting in Polkadot Hub. But also you see a big portion here in hydration, 1/8, 12.5%. And also in Bifrost, where we have a liquid stake dot, and then there is also like smaller positions in Centrifuge and Pendulum. And another interesting fact is the diversification of the Treasury. So right now, 92% of the Treasury money is in DOT, but there is a diversification happening towards stablecoins, and it already has shown some positive effects. So we see the market fluctuations of the DOT price. And what you can see from, if you look into it, is that actually the fluctuation of the overall balance of the Treasury was mitigated because it holds a diversified portfolio. And so it is less susceptible to the market movements because depending on is DOT going up and down, is USD going up and down, you see a more stable balance sheet. And I think so. This is the first the pointer for today's. I think this further Treasury diversification is a thing that actually makes sense and that we should also look into in the future. Another last thing that I learned, and that is getting interested. So we're seeing that the Polkadot Treasury, it can make this spends in USDT, USDC, DOT, not only now, but also in the future, right? So we see this when there is a proposal coming up with a bigger spend, stakeholders might not feel comfortable spending everything at once. And so what we see here is a category of liabilities. So the Polkadot Treasury is actually making commitments to give money out in the future, and we're monitoring the contractors with the Treasury if they're delivering or not. And there is the possibility for the Treasury to actually cut the spending if something is not turning out as it used to be, as it is intended to be. So technically speaking, is like a liability. And so Polkadot is going into liabilities for the future. And so the sum of those liabilities make up sort of like $3.7 million in liabilities, right? So these are spends in the future where we see towards the end of the year, there is commitments of DOT. I'm not sure, I think it's sort of Snowbridge or one of the bigger projects where the Treasury already has committed to spend DOT in the future.
Oh, wow.
So this is, I think, a good thing because it gives the Treasury more control, but it's also a thing to keep in mind that sort of $3 million are already committed, $3.5 million are already committed until the end of the year, which, so this is why it makes sense to not only look at the cash that is available, but actually what are the commitments and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the balance sheet part. So the balance sheet, $135 million overall, of that $100 million in cash, and then 25 million in like bounties and so on. Okay, let's look at the expenses. This was the actual true first quarter where the Treasury was neutral or like slightly positive. So the inflow was slightly bigger than the outflow. And I've been criticized in the past for like using maybe the wrong word and saying runway, and it had its own share of drama. But what you see in the last months, and we will see the detail here, is that we had this peak last year of spending a lot during a certain era. But right now, in the last 3 quarters, you see it fairly stable. Of course, there can be quarters in the future where we spend more or less. And I think there's very interesting proposals coming up where it actually makes sense to spend. But sort of in the last quarter, it was a really stable. And you see that there are certain categories that are stabilizing. So categories that you always see that are fairly big is outreach and software development. So outreach is everything from marketing, advertising, PR, education, community management, events, event hosting. So right now we see a very successful event happening in Toronto where we already see good things coming out. And then there is software development, which is infrastructure for the ecosystem, SDKs, Polkadot, and so on. And these are the 2 biggest categories always. They are always ranging sort of like in the area of, like, let's say roughly $7 million, can be more, can be less. And then there's other categories like operations, which is sort of keep the network running, keep the explorers running, the indexers, all this technical infrastructure. And that is also a very stable category. And the interesting thing about operations is that it's mostly managed by bounties. So almost all of our operations is outsourced to bounties like the collators, the testnet, and so on. And this is a really interesting development, I think, where we see that sort of this departmentalization in the sort of very stable areas is making sense. And then we have spends where it's more on the, let's say, innovative side or speculative side, where stakeholders still have a big say in what's going on. One category we're missing this quarter is talent and education. So this is typically led by the Polkadot Blockchain Academy. And it has been prepaid in previous months, so there's not too much going on this quarter. Yeah, and then we see smaller categories. There was already, again, a spend in sort of DeFi incentives, and we will see another one coming up in this quarter. But this is the Hyperbridge DeFi liquidity campaign for like bringing DOT liquidity. Yeah. And then last point I want to make for today, and I started like my segment here with saying that we see this Polkadot Treasury growing up. And what I mean by that is that the spends in bounties and the fellowship are already taking up 30% of the spending. And we see this trend also in the last 2 quarters before. So in the last 3 quarters, the Treasury was roughly spending 30% via sort of departments, right? So this is bounties. And I think What you can see equally, I don't have the chart yet, is that the number of proposals overall on the general voting tracks is going down. So this is not only voting fatigue, maybe there was a little bit of voting fatigue, but rather for me, it shows that there's sort of a growing up where the general voting tracks on OpenGov take care and take responsibility for the big decisions. And then more of the smaller decisions are being pushed to bounties. For example, events bounty is a bounty, and meetup bounty, like events meetups are very regular spend that can be very standardized. We see more responsibility shifting to marketing bounty, to the DeFi bounty, and lots of other bounties, right? So these are leading marketing events, and then the DeFi bounty are typically leading. We also see money flowing from the games bounty, infrastructure builders, and Polkadot Assurance Legion. So for me, this was a very positive quarter in terms of seeing reasonable spends going up, and so I'm very optimistic about what's coming up.
Good stuff. Thanks. Thanks very much for the overview. We have Jordan. Go ahead.
If you want to see it, it's on the Polkadot forum, or you can just type it into your favorite search engine, Polkadot Treasury Report, and it's also going to be on opengov.watch.
We have Jordan in the chat asking, he says, can we automate the Treasury Report so it doesn't all sit inside a spreadsheet?
Yeah, so it's sort of more and more automating over time. If you go to opengov.watch, there is the monitoring menu item. And this is where you see a continuous monitoring going up. And there is multiple spreadsheets. There is one for all the referenda, one for all the child bounties. I'm looking to continuously improve it, but there is quite a bit that has to be done manually. So one example is we are sort of, for example, the Mythical Airdrop or the Ambassador Fellowship and some other programs. We're giving money into a multi-sig and trusting a group of people to reasonably spend that money. And this is sort of where you need to manually follow up on a lot of things. But over time, I think we can put more and more into automation. For this report specifically, I've been recording 14 hours of just me doing all the work with the hopes that in the very near term, there is an AI that can be trained of me like doing all the work.
Good idea.
So I'm hoping, the AI singularity is coming closer, that at some point I can just hand over the full job to some AI.
Honestly, let's just get responsibility off our shoulders and give it all to the AI. Good idea. What could go wrong?
No.
We, something I'm hoping that maybe we'll see in the beginning or for the next quarter is maybe a little line for the amount of DOT we have set aside for RFPs. Maybe that'll just be a few DOT to begin with, but maybe we could watch that grow against spends. Could be pretty good. Angie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was just going to ask on the loss. Did you? What is the loss? I'm sorry, I don't have it. It's not showing on my screen anymore. Is it 80?
You mean the expenses or sort of the
No,
net
the
balance?
loss, the net loss, including burn, was.
Yeah. It was the first positive quarter. It was like 40,000 on the positive side.
Oh, it was 40.
So it was a neutral quarter.
And what was it? What is it historically? Is there any way we could see? I mean, I love that you're breaking that out. Can you just explain, like, can we hone in on what that number is so that we can all think about how we can manage that as we're looking at all these referendum to think like, okay, if we do this, we're going to be pushing ourselves into loss. I mean, I love the fact that you're breaking that out.
Yeah. So here you see an overview over the last 5 quarters. This is inflows and outflows, and inflows is basically revenue and inflation. And then outflows is expenses and burn. If you add them together, this is the chart that you're getting. The inflation is $4.5 million per month. So that's $18 million in a year. And yeah, depending on the DOT price, that sort of gives you, I don't know, like $100 million to spend per year. Maybe less at the moment, but maybe more in the future. Okay, let's say 18 million DOT. And then if you want to dig deeper, I suggest you go into categories. There is very stable categories like operations. And then there is less stable categories, but operations development is typically very stable, even though in development, there is very different kinds of spends. Outreach is also fairly stable in the last few quarters, but you can dig sort of what I've been trying to do is mark the category or mark the spends that are typically recurring and then compare it to the spends that are not recurring. We're getting better at sort of anticipating it, but sort of it requires you to get a lot of data and go for it. And actually, like, we would need more people capacity to go into more detail, which we don't have at the moment.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Angie. And thank you again, Tommy, for sharing this report with us. The link is now in the chat if anybody wants to do a deep dive on that. That's the state of the Treasury this quarter, I suppose. We'll now throw it over to Funky for the state of the funk.
Thanks so much, Jay. As you can see, the State of the Funk is live, coming to you live from the booth here in Toronto. A lot of great traffic happening. Every time I walked by here yesterday, it was very, very busy. And so excited about all the energy. It was great to see you in your hometown, on your turf, my friend, where you gave me wood, which, was just an exceptional thing that, can't say it's going to happen very often, but really looking forward to what comes out of here. And I'm going to say that my shoulder is quite sore after holding it up at this angle, trying for the last 15 minutes. But I can't stay for the whole show. I'm looking forward to watching the replay later, though. Thanks so much, Jay.
Thank you very much, Funky. We'll now throw it over to Limo for a look at refs gone by. I don't think too many this week.
What the hell is going on in Toronto? There's only 2 refs gone by this week. The first one is by Amfork on the Treasurer track, ref 1516. This was approved, and this is for around $1 million for the IBP bounty top-up, and the IBP is a collective of independent infrastructure providers that support the Polkadot ecosystem and parachains with RPC provision and kind of IT department services. So congrats to all the guys there. They do a really good job. Funky's now laying down. This is crazy. And the only other one this week is Subsquid on the medium spender track ref 1526. This was approved, and this is for 310,000 USDT for SQD, formerly Subsquid, public data indexing infrastructure. Very important stuff. And that's all the refs gone by, and I'm going to spend the rest of this episode looking at Funky laying down on a beanbag.
Hey, this SQD proposal, it wasn't a home run, 62.6% in favor. Who did we have on the nay side? Poker World on the nay side, Chaos DAO on the nay side, and Saxonburg. Any rumbles of what the resistance was to this, or any requests to sort of change? Oh, I guess we have Kristen from Poker World on too. Kristen, if you could speak to this to the nay here, that might be interesting and helpful.
Oh, yeah, but sorry, I
That's
didn't
okay.
follow
It's ref
this
1526,
Okay.
the SQD. What do you see there, Limo? Anything?
A lot of discussion that I need to catch up on before I say what I mean.
This is interesting, yeah. Okay, well, sorry, I didn't mean to put you guys on the spot. I guess we can move on here. Because first we have a quick presentation from the good folks at PokeAssembly. Lots of people still using PokeAssembly these days. And you guys wanted to come on the show. I don't remember who's here to discuss it. Rigel? Is this you? Yeah. What's up, man?
Right.
Yeah, what did you want to share with us today about PokeAssembly?
Okay, so we have done a complete overhaul of the code base. I'm the lead developer leading it as well.
Okay.
And I just wanted to let the community know of what we're doing. We have received feedback from people of the performance and basic features not working. So what we've done is we've built the core governance features and then up. So features like AI, we've received feedback that they're good, but it's AI, and how people receive it. It's the cherry on the top. It's not the core features still. So we've focused entirely on the overhaul of governance and governance focus. Features like we've overhauled our create treasury proposal flow. We're trying to also communicate to new users on how to properly or how to better use these features. And so we're going to do user groups and just user focus groups. And my friend here will actually, in the YouTube chat, he'll share a couple of forms that we can use to do some user interviews as well. Just exactly that. So we've received some harsh feedback, as everyone knows. Just an update on the features and the entire overhaul. But yeah, we'll be conducting some interviews. Please, if you guys can spare just 5 to 10 minutes, we'll conduct them. We'll do one-on-one interviews as well on what is actually needed on Polk Assembly for the betterment of the whole community.
All right, interesting stuff. I was just poking around the app here while you're speaking. So yeah, we do have a totally revamped Treasury page, and a lot of navigation is different as well. But it was easy enough to figure out where I wanted to go. That's pretty good. Any performance improvements as well? Sometimes we have some trouble having multiple Polk
Yeah.
Assembly tabs up.
Yes, significantly. So, especially with the RPCs increasing now. So now that we have people chain, that is a different thing, and you have to fetch data from the relay chain as well, and then there's Asset Hub, etc., etc. So that was just it was stacked on top of everything because of the speed of the community as well. So yeah, we overhauled it, and it should have significant performance gains. Of course, we're improving every day as well. And yeah, as of now, I'm still coding some of the things besides this call. Yeah, it's just that there are significant performance improvements, especially with ongoing referendums. The caching has been overhauled to better support anything that is still ongoing. But yeah.
All right, very good. Angie, did you have a question or comment there? Oh, no, okay. And sorry, you just hands up there. Does anybody else have that's all good, all good. Anybody else have a question or comment or suggestion? Nope, okay. All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on and showing it off, and really interested to see the feedback for this this version and what we get going forward. Let
Yes,
Ben in.
please.
All right, very good. Oh, we have a special guest now coming onto the show. Tried to keep him out as long as I could, but joining now the AAG memo room, Mr. Lol McShiz coming in right now. I think we are going to be talking about the big hydration proposal coming up soon, but wanted to get to the title referenda of the show, and we want to welcome Damsky back. It's been a minute there, Damsky.
GM, yeah, it's been quite a while since I was on AAG. Most of our stuff is in the maintenance, so it's all good.
Well,
However, .memo, yeah, come
Yeah.
on, what?
go ahead. I was just going to say, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, okay. However, .memo, it's already 6 months since we passed our initial proposal, where we developed the V1 of the app, and since we are seeing very nice traction for the app, we decided that, well, first of all, we need to maintain it and have developers ready for that. And second of all, there is a bunch of features that we are planning, and this was discussed with a bunch of people in the ecosystem, and also with the unified branding and unified onboarding platform that is coming up, I believe, by Alex from the UX Bounty. So I have some snippets of what we are approximately planning. So this is not the whole part. It's very incomplete. It's just some stuff that we have on hand. So what we want to do in terms of like, this is basically the drop that a person would see. So you can see that for the easiness of claim. If a person needs to be or wants to be onboarded and doesn't have a wallet, and for example doesn't want to download another wallet for whatever reason, they can also include their email address, and the drop comes to their email address, and afterwards they can claim it, right?
Cool.
You can also see some other customizations, like basically you can include like your community link and the website, and we will be working on like let's say like a congratulations page where you can add next steps for onboarding the user to the ecosystem. So it's not just claim an NFT and go away, but it's more like a thought out process about what is going to happen with the user. This is, I believe, still the same for now. What we want to also work on is like your collection of all the memos that you have claimed. In the traditional world, this is called a POAP, but it's trademarked. So you will be able to see your memos, and then after all the years in the ecosystem, I can just see what you have claimed, on what events you have been to, and so on. From the analytics part and dashboard, this was very much requested. Mainly the event organizers afterwards want to work with the addresses. This is visible on Subscan. However, we will add it on .memo directly, where you can manage the drop from the analytical side. You can also manage the drop in terms of it's actually, I think, here. Yeah. Like you can before you actually do the drop or the memo, you can customize a bunch of stuff. It's pretty much up to you. There will be a little bit more functions that you can see right now, but you can add socials, you can add color, you can add a custom preview image. So not every time you, for example, want to have the NFT shown right on the preview, and you want to have your own image that says something. So we will be working on that, which is gonna be like a admin panel for the minters. And what we have also gone into is basically people, for example, have used wrong date and their memo ran out. So the admin, basically the minter, the person who started the drop or the memo, will be able to customize this, change the supply, top up if, for example, you run out of the memories. And you can always do a bunch of stuff around, like the dashboard and analytics and so on. I think that's it for now. That there is a bunch of stuff. This is just a Figma that was exported to me. It's not the complete picture. However, in terms of the milestones, there are like 4 other milestones, and it's pretty detailed in terms of what we are going to be building. I believe most of the people in the ecosystem are already familiar with this. And I think it's pretty key for every ecosystem to have at least a basic POAP app or a memo app, right? So that's why we decided to build it, and that's our main goal to provide this. We are using this ourselves, always trying to improve.
So,
and yeah.
So Damsky, for people who might not be familiar with it, you said it's getting some adoption. Like, what are 1 or 2 of the biggest, most successful use cases that people have actually utilized it for?
Yeah, I mean, like you mostly utilize .memo for events, for like a digital or like a physical presence, where anybody who comes to a physical event, they can scan a QR code and have like a proof of participation that they have been at the event. It also serves as a memory for them. So they can look back and see like, hey, I've been at this event, they showed me this wallet, I have this NFT in there, maybe I should mint another one or continue doing stuff in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And yes, it's like POAP in the Ethereum ecosystem. And in terms of the metrics, like we have exceeded our targets by quite a lot. There has already been 60 plus events supported by 60 people or 60 unique creators. Throughout the whole world, from Africa to Europe to South America, North America, and everywhere. So we are super happy about that. This was used at the Sub-Zero in Bangkok. It was used in NBX Warsaw, and there is 60 more events where this was used. So given the fact that we have reached all our targets, I think this is a pretty good market fit, at least for the Polkadot ecosystem, and yeah.
Where could people go to check out these past events that have used it?
Right. So we have a list. Basically, this is the list of some of the events that happened. These are the major ones. In the initial proposal, I didn't really include some of the events that were smaller. However, I still should probably just export like a super big sheet with all the events so people can have a look. I've included just a bunch like from these, and what we are also planning on Coda to add is like a filter where you can filter out collections just based on if it was minted through .memo. So you'll be able to see everything this in one place and check out all the events.
Cool. Let's hear from Spectra from Hungarian DAO.
Hi guys. So basically, we're a big fan of .memo. We think it's a very, very good and versatile tool that could spark engagement. We use it for all our meetups in Budapest, and people love it. So even if they don't have the wallet, they download it, and I personally love looking at the pictures in my wallet. So obviously, if you get a good design, that makes it better. With all the new features, will it be a switch where you can make it soulbound?
Yeah, we are thinking about soulbound NFTs as well. The thing is, the current palettes on Polkadot, they could support it, but there would need to be like some let's say off-chain workaround for that. So we were thinking of soulbound. I don't think I have it included in the proposal. However, that's more of a something that we are planning for Coda rather than those Memo. And then see if people actually desire this or not.
All right.
I think it could be useful because if you say you've been to 10 web zeros and then you get the 11th for free, then I could trade my NFTs for sell it for money, and then someone who's never been to web zero can get a free ticket and go, which may or may not be a good thing. But some of them, like with the PBAX NFT, it has to be soulbound because I shouldn't be able to sell it, which it is.
Okay, we're actually
I
at
see.
time here, but I see a couple hands up. So Tommy, very short question, and then Angie, very short question. Yeah.
Okay, very short statement.
Okay.
When you're at a conference, people are coming to your booth and they're checking out if they can get something like that.
Yeah.
And they are judging you by the user experience. So having something like that with a good user experience is essential. And what we also should be looking at in the future is like having some kind of account abstraction thing, like a login with Google, and then I get my NFT or something. That would be a really great workflow. So we should be looking to have things like that.
You mentioned something like that, right, Damsky? That people can just get it to their email?
Yeah, for now, what we want to do is like they will be able to input their email, and afterwards they will get a like an email with a claim link where they can download the wallet and get instructions. For example, for the whole Polkadot ecosystem, it would actually be super beneficial if we had like a privy, right, where you can just use privy and log in with Google, and then it creates a wallet for you. But like that integration costs actually a lot of money, and doing it like on hand would need like a separate team to just build this, right?
We have a team building it. They have been winning the Bangkok hackathon, TK login, and like they're working with the Memo team. So
Nice.
I can make a connection for you. I think this would be really good.
Yeah, please do. We are happy to integrate it. Yeah, thank you everyone for your questions.
One second, we have Angie with a quick comment. Go ahead,
Oh.
Angie.
Yeah, really quick question. Is there a place where I can see other people's badges and honors and all of that? Because I feel like, so we're thinking about this idea in .play, and I'd love to follow up with you, of this playground area where I can see other people's rewards, achievements, etc.
I mean, I think this can be quite simply done. We can just add a bar where you will be able to input an address and see the memos they collected. You can do this already if you, for example, go to Polkadot and just input a user address. Then you can see all the NFTs they actually own. But like we want to, like I said, we want to filter out like those .memos separately. So if a feature for .memo where you can check other people, like make it a little bit more social, let's say. Like for example, for people with verified identity, we could, for each drop, we could add like a amount of people with verified identity who claimed, right? Something like that could be good for sure, like a social element.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Damsky, for coming on and sharing. This is a brand new proposal, just 4 hours old. So we're definitely going to get, oh no, is it 4 hours old? Yeah. So we're definitely going to get a lot more information about this soon. We do have 6 million on the I side. Hungarian DAO is coming strong. And we also heard a lot of support on this call. So we'll check in next week. But Danzig, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you guys, and enjoy Toronto, Jay, and everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Now, just want to check. There's nobody on this call to talk about Mosaic NFT project today, right? Got a note that we'd have some presentation, but doesn't look like it. So we're going to move on to a new face. We have Jan Louise here in the chat wanting to discuss his proposal to support the launch of Polkadot Hub, specifically with a campaign to onboard Web2 developers in LATAM and beyond. 95,000 USDC, and this is a few days old. Almost no dot to worth speaking about on the tally right now. But Jan, welcome to the show. What did you want to tell us?
Hey everyone, morning for me. I know that for others can be good night. But yeah, our proposal is pretty straightforward, as a few people on the ecosystem know us from the past referendum to deliver the Rust course. We started Web3 Dev in 2021, me and Daniel Cuquier, most of you guys know from Jam. Now he's focused on developing Jam. And we started to translating content because we believed that the content could reach bigger audience if we deliver in their native language. So it was Portuguese and Spanish. We did some stuff on English, but most Portuguese and Spanish. And all the first courses was totally organic, no ads, and we reached almost 2,000 developers with the Solidity and smart contract, because it was like a huge audience wanted to learn Solidity and grasp blockchain concepts and stuff like this. So after that, we started to work closely with Solana. We did their campaign to launch on Latin America. Previously, they didn't, was very new in Latin America. There was no developer activity. So we launched the Solana Super Team in Brazil in 2023. And after we gathered this Rust audience, we remember me and Daniel, we went to PBA at January 2024. And after diving deep into PBA, and we decided let's throw all these blockchains away and focus here, because this is decentralized. And we kind of got clicked by the bug of Polkadot. And then we started to try to shift all our audience to Polkadot. That's why we launched the past referendum to create the Rust State Machine course, which was like an adaptation from Sean content. So Sean helped us to adapt his content to our platform, and this was intended to act as a filter for Rust developers to join PBA. So PBA gave us promo codes. We were in partnership with PBA to help them bring more developers to PBA. But we noticed that it was very hard to kind of get people interested into this low-level tech. And based on all the other courses we've done, like gaming, NFT, Solidity, a lot of different Solidity applications, we noticed that the developers who didn't knew anything, no touch with blockchain, they were more kind of open-ended to learn about Polkadot, coefficient of Nakamoto, this low-level metrics and technology related. And we realized that on board is easier than trying to convince other Web3 developers to come to Polkadot, because most of them have some skepticism, some kind of ideas and thoughts about how this is. They don't know that Polkadot is always changing and evolving. And now with the ability to accept Solidity into Asset Hub, now we West End, but further we will have the possibility to deploy real contracts in a live network. We want to just shift our whole company to Polkadot. So all our previous materials, we have more than almost 1,000 videos published, more than 2,000 articles, 10 courses. We want to just update all this material to point to West End, because now it's pointing to Polygon, it's pointing to some articles points to Moonbeam, because it's built by community. So all these articles and videos are built by community. So we got these grants from other blockchains, and then we distribute these incentives for developers to learn and then share their content. So they get incentives to learn and teach others. And we want to update this content to address to Asset Hub. But beyond that, we want to develop a new series of content, since now is like very easy to ship a product on in vibe coding scenario that we are today. Is very easy to ship a DEX platform, to ship a staking platform, to ship a small DAO. So we want to create these DeFi 101 tutorials to help people to get boilerplates and deploy applications into Asset Hub, because most of the developers, they wants to build apps and not chains. That's why we shift from Rust state machine to Solidity, because we can leverage our existing network and reach a broader audience. Since now we are getting more root into marketing, because we did a merge with another community very, very big here in Latin America. So our reach is almost to 100K developers across all the partners, and that is now inside our network, not just outside contact. So is basically our campaign. We want to launch new content, new tracks, to create a whole journey to onboard developers, and also offer support on the Polkadot Discord. Me and other 3 developers, we want to weekly have 3 sessions weekly on the Discord to just discuss doubts and help people develop. So today, if you are developing to Polygon, let's say, and you are struggling with, for any reason, you need to go to Discord, ask, and filter bots and help God to someone help you. And we want to kind of have like this live support on Discord Polkadot sessions on the agenda, where I will be helping developers with their struggles. So yeah, the summary is that update all our past content, create new boilerplates, new 0 to app sections to deploy all the DeFi Legos, staking, DEX, lending, these blocks to build the DeFi Legos, offer support in the Discord to help these builders to not just deploy the app, but how to keep maintaining this app, how to get users. And that is basically our idea on how to onboard developers. And we are totally open to feedbacks. If you are thinking the wrong direction, if you are proposing something that is not aligned with the ecosystem thinks, we are totally open to feedback, because we really want to shift our focus and deploy everything we can solidity related to Polkadot. So the BD teams that works here in Brazil, they are very close to us, because all this content, everything we built till now is open source, is on the GitHub. The community builds platforms to read these courses from GitHub. So all the content is open source. And we want to connect with these other agents in Latin America to be able to, distribute this content. That's why I am moving now to Argentina to improve my Spanish and also create this content in Spanish. This way we can replicate this content in the whole Latin America. It's a quality content, we know for sure. All the content is open, and all the feedbacks on YouTube and feedbacks from the community is all open.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you have an existing community, an existing archive of information, and basically you want to turn all those links and shine them onto the Polkadot Asset Hub. Now we have a comment from Lorena, and just 20 seconds remaining. Lorena, we can't hear you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Lorena, I'm sorry, but no sound is coming from your microphone there. Nope, we can't hear you. Okay. Well, we are at time. Yeah, Florentina.
Yes, I'm not sure if this is what Lorena wanted to say, but I did see a comment on the proposal where Rocco was inviting Jan tomorrow to AAG in Spanish to present the proposal to the Spanish-speaking community. So I was wondering if he was going to attend.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm seeing with Rafael Castaneda, is my partner. If he is able to join to talk with the Spanish community, we would like to be me and him. I think even if he cannot show up, I will try to show up. But yeah, I will confirm till the end of today.
All right, that'll be very good. Definitely want to hear what the community says over there. All right, Jan, thanks for coming on. It sounds like a good project, to be honest. But it'd be interesting to get an idea just how big the community is, just to get an idea of the assets that we want to basically leverage here and point at Asset Hub. That'd be really good to see. But thanks for this this introduction today.
Okay, thank you.
Good stuff. Now, I don't think we have anybody here to talk about the Davos project either, right? Right. So we're going to move on to Ref 1549. An interesting development on this ref last week when we spoke about it. This is the Kagome Treasury Proposal 4, the alternative client for Polkadot. This was at 70-something%, and then the DAO votes came in, bringing it down to 14.6. Now, still not a lot of votes in play. We have RE on the I side and Koos DAO and Chaos DAO on the nay side, but then everybody else is pretty much abstaining here. So there's still a lot of room to run and flip this decision around. Yeah, we're halfway through the decision period here. So who do we have to talk on the show about this? Is it Vladimir? Yes.
Yes.
Welcome,
It's
sir.
me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put 8
Hi,
minutes on the
everyone.
clock. What do you want to say to us today?
Okay, I am an engineer from the Kagome team.
Yep.
Our proposal was already introduced by our manager Camille a couple of AAGs ago. So I'm here in case some new feedback or questions came up. I'm here to discuss our proposal with you guys.
Okay, so you want to open it up to questions?
Right, you can ask questions. I can also briefly introduce it again, so you know, to catch up if someone is new here.
I think
Okay.
we had a good introduction last time, but we have Poker World has a new comment. This is 46 minutes old, so maybe you can respond to this one. Poker World says, at this stage,
Camille already wrote to them the answer, so this is already addressed, I believe. I myself don't have the information that they're asking for, so I'm not sure I can. Well, I can say something about this here.
Okay.
They asked to run down which feature which people work on from our team.
Yeah.
So I can tell you about that since I'm an engineer in this team. Typically, one feature is developed by one senior developer from the team, and then the DevOps guy and the QA engineer, they work on the infrastructure and testing of all features. And then we have Camila, our manager, who oversees the whole process, assigns the features, and so on.
Okay. Did anybody on the panel have a question for Vladimir today? So we can dive into this a little bit deeper while we have him. Interesting. Okay, doesn't look like we have a lot of questions for you here today, Vladimir.
Okay.
Thanks for coming by.
You can always contact us using the contacts provided in the proposal if you want to share some feedback or ask some questions.
Of course we will. Thank you very much, sir. All right, well, this brings us then to the big ref. It's the era of Giga. Here on AAG, we have the Polkadot Giga Hydration campaign by Mr. Lol McShiz, 5 million DOT, about 2/3 of the way through the decision period, and 55.1% in favor. Ooh, it's a bit tenuous. We don't really know how this is going to go. Ben, what's the latest from consensus?
Hey, so made a few edits to the doc, and I've clearly marked them when they've been edited as well, because people get super crazy about edits to the docs.
Sure.
So the first one is based around this fear that it's a large amount, right? Even though it's going to be distributed over the course of 12 months. So what we're going to do is those funds, rather than just sitting directly in the Hydration treasury, they're going to sit in a pure proxy account on Hydration, which any proxy is held by both Polkadot Root and the Hydration treasury. This way, it's still technically under the custody of the Polkadot treasury and can be included on things like dot treasury, etc. So we can see those dots sort of dissipate over the year rather than just one big number coming out and on day one. So that's just to, and obviously, should OpenGov decide that it wanted to pull out those funds again because of whatever reason, then they can obviously legitimately take that back without hostile taking over the chain. So that's one thing. I've also added this morning
a table similar to what I did on the original last year's proposal, just sort of showing how those rewards could be distributed across different assets and the sort of TVL for some of those assets that we would see. So you can see on the stablecoin side, we'll continue the two pool one that we've got at the moment that seems to be quite popular on CT for USDT and USDC, as well as some hollow pools when they go live in a few weeks' time. And then we get asked a lot about, for example, Euro stablecoin. So when we finally get a native Euro stablecoin on Asset Hub, then we can get some liquidity bootstrapped for that. We can use our fancy stable swap with a drifting peg so that you've got concentrated liquidity around, obviously what isn't one-to-one because US dollar became a little less strong recently, let's say, against the Euro. So a few examples of that, and then just how it could be distributed across some ecosystem assets. So similar to how we covered in the first campaign, given reasons for people to buy and hold ecosystem assets and something they can do with them, but also a big focus on Snowbridge liquidity. So getting ETH liquidity, Aave, much deeper Bitcoin liquidity and things like that, focusing on those hydration, on those Snowbridge assets. Sorry, I saw Michael broke hydration, maybe say it. One thing I really want to reframe is we keep seeing again and again this 5 million dot about it being 30% of the treasury, right? So first of all, it's 16% of the treasury. Okay, the current value of the treasury. So this amount will be refilled within 3 months of just treasury inflows. Okay, so if we ask for it in 3 months and that just has built up in that time, does it make any difference? The other thing is it's 4% of annual inflation. So personally, and this is a conversation for another day, but it is a conversation I'd like to have, is we are spending 85% of our inflation on security at the moment. And I often ask myself, what are we securing? And we're sort of wincing at 4% for economic stimulation, right? So I think that's perhaps a little bit disbalanced. Maybe we could review moving forward, how much do we need to pay for security at this stage of Polkadot's activity, and how much should we be paying for economic stimulation in various ways? Obviously, we're proposing for DeFi incentives because that's our playground, right? But I'm sure there's other ways in which such activity could be stimulated. So, and yeah, as Tommy says, maybe lower inflation overall again. So yeah, but happy to have any more questions.
Yeah, thanks very much. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yeah, it's always nice to reframe the security situation there. Why is this so bullish? Somebody asks on the panel.
Unfortunately, we're just dripping with bullish energy at all times. I think something in the air in Toronto at the moment. So I apologize for the sheer bullishness.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Michael.
Not a question, but I just want a bull comment. I think we have a lot of emphasis that gets put on technical development, which is essential and very needed. But like my personal life, like I work on trying to get user acquisition, and without stuff like this, it's very, very difficult to gain mindshare. And I think even just our last presenter even mentioned it, that a lot of existing Web3 developers not so much interested because they've already got their own preconceived ideas, and the user is just as fickle. And so this is type of the stuff that we need to actually acquire more people into the ecosystem and to gain mindshare. And unfortunately, as crude as it is, sometimes it means yield. And so I do think something like this is essential, and Ben runs the numbers, so it's not going to send us broke, but it's all part of the game that we have to play if we want to keep mindshare.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, welcome to the call, Jakob. Did you want to add anything to this conversation?
Yo, hello everyone. No, just quickly that as Michael mentioned, I would just point out a little bit that we spent extreme money on marketing last 18 months, and as you might know, and it knows even my 2-year-old son, that the force marketing isn't like doesn't work anymore in the internet era. Like I think the best marketing is product marketing. There is no better marketing than happy users, and it's that is how it should be, because like when you are pushing down the throat to people that, oh, we are best at this and that and that, and they cannot see it, it's hard to believable, let's say. And like ask yourself, like, how many times you were attracted by ads in YouTube or on Twitter? Like how many times it really got your attention and you clicked on it, and then you become a consumer of such product? Probably not much. So yeah, like don't hate the player, hate the game.
All right, before we leave this topic, because we are out of time, but I would be remiss if we didn't mention this forum post by Sarab. It's a suggested wish for change to spend 8 million DOT to acquire hydration over 8 quarters. This was posted yesterday and has received a lot of feedback. I was just scrolling through while we were preparing here, and I didn't see any feedback in support of the idea, but actually quite a bit against. But I'm going to take another look and take a look and correct myself if I'm wrong there. But did you guys want to comment on this idea of the Polkadot Treasury acquiring hydration for 8 million DOT over 8 months?
Never selling.
Never selling. Diamond hands. Yeah, I didn't see any support there. Okay.
Yeah, I would just briefly add that Polkadot needs more entrepreneurs than employees. Like there is no bigger skin in the game than being accountable to your investors and to your users. And because you know that if you screw up, you might not have a job anymore. In comparison to like less of skin in the game when you know that salary will come every month. So yeah, that's my take. And there is also like very good example in our ecosystem. Like you can compare Asset Hub and you can compare Noble in Cosmos, where Noble is basically Asset Hub of Cosmos. Is a venture funded team with its own CEO, Yelena. She's absolutely awesome. They have like strong products. It was driving a lot of liquidity into Cosmos ecosystem. They are constantly innovating. So yeah, we need more entrepreneurs who are incentivized by their success and by their work. And also, honestly, I don't think that the offered price is something what our investors and community, who are very loyal after like 4 or 5 years, that is outcome into what they were buying. You know?
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah, Ben.
And yeah, I just want to add another comment before we finish up on the DeFi incentives proposal. Obviously, I've been on the booth at Consensus talking to people who aren't in the Polkadot ecosystem and just demonstrating them that, you know, they can just come and they can use MetaMask and they can bring their liquidity and they can get these yields, and showing them the product, and they love it. They're interested in exploring it because there's something I can do to earn some yield here, right? So there's lots of people I spoke to who are interested in DeFi, and they wouldn't. All they ever know about Polkadot is, oh, wasn't there a crowd loans thing, and didn't you have to lock up millions of DOT and this, that, and the other? But when you show them that, like, oh yeah, no, you just use MetaMask. Like, obviously it's not the best. I showed them Talisman and how that's so much better and can replace MetaMask. But yeah, these people are just like, oh wow, 20% on stables. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And what do you mean I don't need to get a gas token? I can just use ETH or USDT. Like, they love it. So this is an easy onboarding tool.
Yeah, exactly. And if you will be just like pushing down the throats of people, like no one really pay attention to like obviously paid advertisements. Like people need to try it and believe it. Like same as like Jesus Christ, like everywhere where I'm going and I'm like shilling Polkadot, the first question is like, oh, do you still have the Polkadot JS wallet, guys? Like you don't even have proper wallet. And like
Yeah, didn't you guys get extremely good results from the marketing bounty campaign, shilling hydration?
Yeah, like obviously we are trying to use these opportunities and these offerings as much as possible, but it's as I said, like paid marketing. Yeah, I don't think that paid. It obviously works somewhat, but it also isn't like silver bullet.
It can't be the only thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like from my personal experience with talking to like VCs and whales in general, like you either have like very strong, cool innovation, or product is great, or you have a very strong backing, or something else, like or like someone very highly reputable, high intelligent person has having mentioned you somewhere in the like productive context, or non-shilling context, and yeah, that works. That's something what works on people who moves money, or like who are doing moves, like just like forced paid marketing, especially what we saw last year when we were paying a lot of bottom of the barrel KOLs, proven scammers, actually made some disservice to Polkadot. So as I said, like the only way how to convince people is bring them to try the products, and this is the only way. They will not listen until they will see.
Yeah, we come a long way since the marketing of last summer for sure. But I couldn't agree more that we could use a great user experience. And indeed, yesterday, by the way, at the bar crawl, we onboarded 13 more people with wood and hydration, and we had a lot of returning people as well. But what I was saying yesterday is this is the high liquidity DeFi city of Polkadot. And yeah, people were enjoying trading and swapping right in over there. But anyway, guys, welcome. I mean, not welcome. You know what? It'd be nice to get a little bit of sleep, but not yet. Not until the end of consensus. Thank you for being here, and we'll check back in on this next week. Yeah, we're gonna have a few more weeks of this on the show, so let's see what we can do. Moving on here to some refs that we've spoken about previously, and if there's anything anybody on the panel wants to talk about, now would be the time to raise your hand. But while you think about that, we have the Texas Blockchain Council re-up and continued presence for Polkadot. We had Grizz on the show last week looking for that 100,000 USDC in 2 parts, currently enjoying 60% support, and it looks like we do have some more votes to come in and send this one way or the other. Kustot delegate on the I side. We had some really good chats in KuSTAO about the payment structure here. You know, a lot of talk about, you know, because Grizz has multiple roles in the ecosystem, is he getting the salaries of multiple people? Not the case, but he is hobbling together a living with multiple contributions, as many of us are. So that was well clarified in KuSTAO. You can check it out there. Permanence DAO also on the I side here with both their DV stack and personal stack. Chaos DAO not showing the love to Texas, and Rat DAO also on the nay side. Saxonburg also nay as well. That'll be interesting to see how that goes over the next few weeks. Volmix, they returned last week with a 425,000 USDC proposal, this time saying that they're going to be integrating directly with hydration, 9.4% support so far. Can we verify, Jakob or Ben, that you guys are talking with Volmex?
I've never spoken with them.
Yeah, as I'm always saying, like as soon as we will have Perps product, like I'm happy to explore it and even integrate it. That's everything what I can say. Like I have a call directly with the CEO. We were talking some possibilities or some possible features or combination of our features and their features. So which I found like pretty interesting. He found it pretty interesting, and that's it. But as I said, like we like first thing first, and the purpose of the product needs to land first, which is not giga priority. The giga priority is successful and safe launch of Holar. If that will go smooth, then we will move on. Integration of perps, for which like I'm doing like small round of talks to various teams and providers. It's a derivatives platform. It's something what I don't want to reinvent, and I rather want to let experts in this domain to deploy it on us or in the ecosystem. So it's my feedback.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you'd be interested in integrating it when it exists, possibly, but it's not a priority at the moment. That's basically what I heard. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Also, this one's interesting. The 6-month extension for the Poke Berlin team. They have all these projects, big projects interested in integrating Polkadot, sitting under the line at 49.9%. This is so interesting. I mean, I'm really on the I side here personally, and it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, all these opportunities to integrate our truth stack into these government and these large industries. But what do we have? Jam implementers, trustless core, and permanence DAO, all on the nay side here, still. But Poker World and Kustau on the I side so far. That's an interesting one. I wonder where's Hungarian DAO sitting on this spectra? Oh, there you
We're
go.
abstaining.
Okay.
We're abstaining.
Wow.
There's no consensus within the DAO, so
interesting.
That's an automatic abstain.
Wow. And Chaos DAO? Where's Chaos DAO? Also abstain?
What's the ref number on this one?
Ah, this is 1535.
1535.
Yeah, Chaos DAO's abstain as well.
I was personally on it. I think the guys working their asses off for it.
Super impressive BD efforts.
Abstain, but I think it's only for 6 months, right? Like and it's kind of a case of if they don't produce results in that time, then yeah, we're abstaining.
Yeah, interesting. Angie, what do you think?
I'm just going to say what I said last week. These guys are doing really big projects, which would typically take a long time to close, and they seem to be making great progress in all of them. So to cut them off after I think they're only 6-9 months into this or something is a little crazy given they're showing so much progress, and it takes longer than 6 to 9 months to get something done. I think there's a big mismatch between crypto time and business development time.
Mm-hmm.
Takes longer than people think.
Yeah, fair enough. This is a weird one for me, and it's one of those situations where I don't know. I guess the voters are just split, and that's totally fine. But for me, I just feel like if we let these guys down, it's just going to be painful. The price of not paying is going to be higher than this. But yeah, we'll have to see. Anybody else have a comment on this one? Yeah, Tommy, what do you think?
So I've been thinking more about this recently, but I'm coming more and more to the conclusion that the mode of a blockchain, of a public ledger, like Polkadot is a public ledger.
Yeah.
But you can just copy the technology and use it privately. The mode of a public network lies in the network effects, right? Mm-hmm. And so that means we need to build clusters of like related stuff that networks together and builds together. And this comes from all these business development activities where we build in a certain area and we build out sort of, I don't know, the user acquisition, the technology stack, and all of that stuff, right? And so I think we need to make the investments into building these clusters of network, like of related things, so that we can have network effects. And so I think business development is something that was also underrepresented in the first quarter, and we need to do more of that. Just the technology is for nothing if you don't use it and if you don't bring it to the relevant parties.
Speaking of forking networks and just running them yourself, these organizations, what technology stack would they be? What the technology stack they'd be using otherwise is Hyperledger, and this team is actually making Polkadot a competitor to Hyperledger, which is pretty significant stuff. I mean, both from a philosophical point of view and, well, just for the good of use of Polkadot as well. Michael, what do you think?
Hyperledger is the great evil of blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Angie said, that essentially, like I've done these types of negotiations with government recently, and they think in like election cycle terms, not in like a funding period term. So yeah, especially if you're dealing with like a non-democratic state as well, who's just a sovereign, They're in no rush at all. So like, it would seem crazy to not let them shoot the shot.
Yeah, Angie, you want to say again?
I just want to add one more thing. I think that the people doing this are also very credible with long histories in Polkadot, and they just one of them. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but one of them is bringing a big gaming company that I'm going to work on them with, and it's just I think we have to back people who have shown deep investment in Polkadot over many years and also success. And if they want to go out and do BD, let them do it.
I mean, yeah, and it's not like they're just starting. They have a lot to show for it. So, Strin, what do you think? You know this world.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of my arena, right? But no, I think like I've had a lot of dealings with Ingo and Elisa and so on, and I think they're good. I mean, just looking at the costs, like a BD person like this, like what they're funding, 174,000 euro for Ingo's half-time, Elisa like 3/4, Matthias full-time for 6 months. It's very cheap, you know. And
you think they're charging? You think they're charging too much?
No, it's very low.
Oh, it's low.
It's cheap.
I see. I see.
Yeah, it's not high. Right, but I don't know if but then it's like a matter of, so it's also like, do people believe that the team can close the deals that they are in talks with? You know, so it's one thing to talk to people, another thing to close.
Yeah.
But I think they can, you know, and but also we have this, like, we're not clear on like the incentives models for BD people who are just agents, but then some of them are partly funded by like Web3 Foundation or maybe grants or something like this, you know. So how is there yeah, so I think we have some exploring to do with the incentives model.
No doubt.
Maybe, you know, if you don't have a salary, you'll close the deals faster sometimes, you know. Like I don't have a salary, so I need to close them as fast as possible, right? So there's something to that, but for the team and the cost, I think it's very reasonable.
Okay.
So that's what I think about that one.
Thank you. Thanks very much for adding that. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes, and I'm feeling a little nervous about it at this point. But we'll have to see. What do we have left here? 5 days remaining. 5 days remaining. Yep, we'll have to see what happens. Okay, the final one to just that we've spoken about previously, but seems to have kind of fallen off, is the Phase Vitality, unifying the ecosystem efforts through esports meta proposal. Spoke about that about 2 weeks ago, I think it was introduced, maybe 3 weeks ago, and here it is at the end of the decision period, and never really got the momentum it was looking for. But I think we made a lot of progress regardless of the outcome here. Did anybody want to say anything about this, Strin? Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of why I jumped on, because I saw, I mean, Angela is here and she's also worked on it. So, but let me say something like more in broad terms about esports, right? So I started a little bit over a year ago to try to bring Polkadot into the esports vertical and get us known in that world, right?
Yeah.
We were very successful, and we had a great partnership with Heroic that is soon ending. It's not closed yet, but and I think every team in esports knows about Polkadot now. We are very well known in that sphere, and there's a lot of opportunity there. So I think this proposal obviously wasn't, you know, received well. So it wasn't a good one, right? I think it was overly complex. It was too many, like you always say also, Jay, but complexity kills proposals, right? This is something we talked about when we were crafting it. And Don Diego's part, like the community part that he wrote, maybe it was too complex. Maybe it was not well explained. But I think because we are like so well known and exposed to this vertical now, surely there's something we can do that brings value into Polkadot.
Yeah.
Gaming and esports is one of the most easily converted user bases because they are actually interested in blockchain and crypto. So if you talk to an esports fan, one of their top 3 interests, except gaming and peripherals, number 3 is crypto. And there's like no sector like that. And they're online, they're by the computers. We need to be able to convert something from this, you know? And the prizes that we get from the teams, we are very competitive now. So like we are able to negotiate very, very good prices with the teams, and the things we get from them is highly valuable compared to what they normally charge, you know? So I think this wasn't the right one, but we need to do something because we have an opportunity here, and it's not a small sector, you know, it's not something that we should just throw away, right? And we're not either. We're doing stuff. We're like sponsoring Blast, which is event organizer, right? So they are gonna, so we're doing things, but I think there is room to do something more here in esports, and this one obviously didn't hit the mark, right? I'm disappointed in it myself, you know, and I think we can do a lot better. But in general, I think like we have an opportunity, we should use it. I mean, otherwise the teams will forget about Polkadot, and eventually one of these really large user-based teams will have a product on some chain that will be really big, and I think it should be on Polkadot, you know. So it's also up to us to like, what can we do? In this proposal, one of the things that were, there's a lot of partners in there, like Braille, for example. These guys would never have the opportunity to work with an organization like FaceClan, you know. It would just be impossible for them. So the thought was kind of to lift some community projects that are going on in Polkadot, give them the opportunity to work with a big brand, you know, to we talked about having more products, right? To kind of try to lift a few products. Maybe it was the wrong products that we put in there, but maybe there's something like this, you know, we should leverage like the access to those communities to lift some product that we have that wouldn't normally be able to work with a brand like this. And I think that's almost all of our products, right? Except maybe Mythical Hydration and like Bifrost, maybe. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like put anyone else down, but like from the ones that I'm well aware of. Okay, sorry, I'll stop now.
No, that's really good perspective. Thanks so much. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, it ties into the idea of clusters again. So I'm not sure, but I think from the Treasury report, you can see that in total, we spent like $5 million on all kinds of gaming initiatives. Bot play, then sort of, and I didn't even count Heroic, but sort of the Heroic partnership. So we're speaking with gamers. This is a user acquisition funnel. We're having Mythical. We're having indie teams like Evolute. There's another advertising campaign from the Marketing Bounty playing into the sector. We're building the technology stack. We have people like Ainsley and Nick who like understand gaming. And so I totally agree. I think in general, the path forward would be, for me, it totally makes sense to have a sponsorship for esports clans. It's a really good target group because it's like nerds, they're technology native. They would be very open to like get interested more in Polkadot and gaming. And so I think the idea is to sort of have a core proposal that is sort of at the center, and then you would later on attach proposals, and proposals have to stand on their own merit. If there is, for example, something with the Braille team where they think they can add value, then that would come after sort of the main proposal went through, right? So maybe think in frameworks where there is pieces standing on their own and they can be judged individually. And I think that would be the path forward on this one.
All right. Okay. Thanks very much, guys, for that review there. Look, a few more refs that we just want to mention real quick. EZA Milestone 2, they did submit since this time last week. Not a lot of votes to talk about right now, only 12 accounts voting, so we'll definitely take a look at that very soon. But the Polkadot resubmit just for the retroactive work that they did, that 82.6 thousand USDT, this is actually passing now with 80.4% in favor for work already done, which is nice to see. Anything else we wanted to talk about today before we look at the one ref confirming? All right, well, we got a nail biter here. This is a medium spender, 1531. This is the operating costs for the Polkadot Ecology Research Institute. We had them on the show a few times for the 209.5 thousand USDT, and this is in confirmation, teetering at 51.3% in favor. We have PokerWorld and Jam implementers on the I side. Loading. We have Kus DAO, Hungarian, and Trustless on the nay side. Chaos DAO also on the nay side there. And yeah, that's it. So it's a real tight one here. We'll have to see if they can hold on to it. We have 3 days remaining in the confirmation and in the decision period. I think we're probably going to slide over, yep, into sudden death. So that'll be exciting to see. But we wish them luck on there. And that's the show today. I think once we finish with all this event excitement, we're going to get back pretty hard into AAG here. Looks like proposals are picking up again after that little slump we had a 4 or 5 week slump there. So expect more AAG action coming soon. But before then, this Sunday, Space Monkey Sunday, we're interviewing finally Alan Vey from Aventus and his new partner, Stuart Stott, on a really interesting prediction market project, the Truth Network, which you might have seen. Not only a great idea, not only a team who can build it. By the way, they also built the Energy Web roll up. They also built the Energy Web parachain. I didn't realize that, but Aventus built that. So not only the great idea, not only the team to build it, but a market strategy, a come to market strategy that is really phenomenal. And you'll hear all about it on Sunday. Hopefully we'll see some of you at the conference today. Otherwise, we'll see you all online soon. And yeah, thanks very much for being here. See you on Monday. Bye, everybody.